Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're exploring a fascinating psychological landscape that, honestly, many of us navigate every single day, often without even realizing it. We are decoding the psychology of people who genuinely prefer texting over calling. Now, if you're someone who actively avoids the answer button like it's a trap in favor of the send button, well, you might have been labeled as distant or even antisocial. But the psychological research we're looking at today suggests something entirely different. It points to a highly analytical mind that prioritizes precision, privacy, and the fierce protection of mental energy. Okay, let's dive into this and decode the text-first mindset.
Have you ever felt a sudden, literal spike of anxiety the moment your phone starts ringing? I mean, you're just sitting there, right? Staring at the screen, basically praying for the ringing to stop so you can just send a simple text asking, "What's up?" instead. I want to validate that feeling right now. If this is you, you are absolutely not alone, and it is not simply antisocial behavior. Psychological studies actually suggest that this reaction is often the hallmark of a brain wired to process information in a deeper, much more complex way. You aren't avoiding the person, you're actually just managing how your brain engages with them.
Looking at the comparison on the screen, think about the dynamic of a live phone call. It forces you to respond instantly, which often keeps your brain in a highly reactive state. We can essentially call this survival mode. You're put right on the spot. Texting, on the right side there, shifts the mind out of that reactive state and firmly into an analytical, reasoning mode. It gives you space. But what exactly is happening in the brain during that space?
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this concept of cognitive control. It's defined as the psychological ability to pause before speaking or acting, and this is a massive reason people prefer texting. Texting provides a natural, built-in buffer. It allows the thinking part of your brain the necessary time to actually override sudden emotional impulses. The science shows that people with higher functional intelligence often utilize this cognitive pause. By shifting from survival mode into reasoning mode, they can formulate way better judgments and much more logical, accurate responses.
Section 1. The burden of performance.
So, when we talk about this burden of performance, the science is rooted in a state called social vigilance. When you answer a live call, boom, you are suddenly the center of attention. All expectations are focused purely on your immediate reaction. For individuals who possess high social vigilance, this activation can feel incredibly intense. You're essentially placed on a conversational stage where every pause, sigh, and immediate word is being scrutinized in real time. It's a lot of artificial pressure.
And this is exactly why texting acts as a powerful antidote to social vigilance. It completely removes the pressure of that forced social performance. Instead of feeling like you're on stage under a glaring spotlight, texting allows for a normal day feel. You can go about your tasks, read the message, process it, and reply when you are actually ready. It allows the interaction to retain a natural cadence, feeling much more authentic and significantly less performative, because that artificial pressure of immediate timing is just gone.
Let's move to and see how this builds into Section 2, the inner scorecard.
Text-first people often operate with what psychologists call a strong internal locus of evaluation. Basically, this means they judge themselves and their communication by their own high internal standards. They aren't relying on external validation. They completely remove the need for those immediate likes, or the verbal affirmations, the laughs, the yas, or the ahas of a live conversation to feel valued or understood. They measure their words against their own inner scorecard.
If you check out the table here comparing these two approaches, the difference is pretty stark. Live conversations rely heavily on external validation, fishing for those immediate verbal affirmations we just talked about. But texting provides the controlled environment needed for internal validation. In a text, you can review your thoughts, edit them for what researchers call concept clarity, and ensure your logical structure is completely sound before you ever hit send. You're satisfying your own internal criteria for a good response.
Section 3. Running analytical simulations.
You see, highly intelligent individuals rarely just chat. Their brains actually follow 4 specific mental steps: gather information, simulate the consequences, edit for absolute precision, and finally, send. These steps are the absolute hallmark of cognitive complexity. A live phone call is simply too fast to accommodate this deeply analytical processing. By texting, a person refuses to be forced into a surface-level response. They are literally taking the time to run the simulation and choose the absolute best outcome.
Section 4. Protecting cognitive bandwidth.
A surprise phone call is, quite literally, mentally expensive. And why is that? Because, as you can see here, it demands immediate and total attention. It acts as an interruption that instantly drains your cognitive bandwidth.
In a world of constant digital noise, our mental energy is a strictly finite resource. When your phone rings unexpectedly, you have to drop whatever deep thought or task you are engaged in and suddenly pivot 100% of your focus to the caller.
And this brilliantly illustrates how deep thinkers manage that finite energy. Notice how they allocate their mental bandwidth in this chart. The largest portion is fiercely guarded for deep thinking and creating. A medium slice goes to learning, while the slice for unexpected calls is intentionally kept tiny. Many deep thinkers practice what's known as cognitive offloading. Texting is a form of this. It allows them to deal with social interactions on their own terms, deliberately preserving their primary mental energy for what truly matters to them.
Section 5. Safety and intentionality. Now we shift to the deeper emotional layer of the text-first preference. We need to define a very important psychological term here, rejection sensitivity. This is a hyper-awareness of social signals, often resulting from experiencing inconsistent support in the past, repeated social exclusion, or maybe growing up in a high-pressure environment. For someone with heightened rejection sensitivity, a live phone call can feel incredibly unpredictable and emotionally risky. You never know what tone of voice, what sudden demand, or what criticism might be waiting on the other end of the line.
So, texting effectively serves as a protective digital shield, and it does this in 4 distinct ways. It maintains a safe distance, it avoids the live emotional spikes of an unpredictable conversation, it allows for solitary processing, entirely alone, and ultimately, it keeps your emotional balance intact. It is just a highly effective way to navigate social connection without risking sudden emotional disruption.
So, the crucial point is beautifully summed up in this quote. Choosing to text isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you value your mental clarity and prefer quality over ritual. By choosing to text, you're choosing to be highly intentional with your words. You are fiercely protective of your inner peace in a modern world that is constantly demanding your visibility and your immediate reaction.
So I leave you with this to reflect on. Are you hiding behind your screen, or are you just protecting your peace? Understanding the psychology behind texting reveals that it's really about establishing cognitive control, avoiding the artificial burden of social vigilance, and carefully managing a highly analytical mind. The next time you let it go to voicemail and open your text app instead, remember the intricate mental processing you're prioritizing. Thank you for joining me for this explainer. Keep analyzing, keep protecting your bandwidth, and keep learning.